at the end of the day. Yes, there are plenty of products and tools out there that you can just plug in, forget, and use and never think about again. But most times when you're buying enterprise software or software that you're paying a pretty penny for in the SaaS world, you are expecting not only delivery, but the value and ROI of that software. And that is exactly where that customer success meets that revenue piece. But if you're not actually stepping up and becoming that revenue advisor or that strategic advisor to your customer, you're quite truly you're going to be replaced by AI or a bot, because AI can do those other parts, but they can't do that human to human piece that we've been talking about.
Your business's success depends on relationships with customers, relationships with employees, and relationships with stakeholders. What do they all have in common? They're all human. Because no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Welcome to the Human Connection Podcast. I'm your host, Karl Ponto. Each week, I'll bring you stories, insights, and practical advice from experts that you can apply to your growing company and daily life. This week, I'm excited to connect with Anika Zubair. Anika is a globally recognized customer success leader with 14 years of experience scaling and transforming CS teams at hyper-growth B2B SaaS companies. She has a proven track record of driving revenue growth, achieving 120% or more NRR, and reducing churn to under 5%, and leading ARR expansion to over 10 million euros in a single year. Anika specializes in aligning CS strategies with business objectives, building high-performing teams, and driving multi-million-dollar upsells. As a thought leader, speaker, and podcast host, she continues to shape the future of customer success. She is also currently the founder and CEO of the Customer Success Pro, where she helps CS professionals build confidence and skills to become revenue-generating experts. Through coaching, content, and her flagship course, she empowers CSMs to exceed revenue targets and grow their careers with clarity. She has been recognized by Success Hacker as a top 25 customer success influencer in 2022 and 2023, by Smart Carrot as a top 50 women leaders in customer success in 2022, and by Ever After as the most creative leader of 2023 and 2024. Congrats on your impressive awards, and welcome to the Human Connection Podcast.
Thanks so much, Karl. That's such a nice intro. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have you on the show because I think it's something that what you talk about in your area of expertise about client success, customer success, is something that companies overlook and don't take advantage of when it comes to how client success teams generate revenue and allow companies to grow sustainably and not have this kind of constant churn of new and leaving customers. So what do you see as the secret to success for driving revenue growth through customer success?
Yeah, I think a lot of what you've just said is a big part of the success of customer success is human at the end of the day. Like, I think in the world that we work in within technology and SaaS, we're moving so quickly and the world is shaping so much, especially in the AI first world that we find ourselves in here in 2026. But I think the success within customer success has a lot to do with the humans behind it, and the fact that humans sell from one human to the next, but also at the end of the day, we work one human to another human every single day. So I think a lot of the customer success professionals I work with and some of the teams that I've run before, the reason why we've been so successful with the customers and the logos that we work with is because we are actually business partners to our customers. We're actually forming a partnership where we're able to help them grow their business, help them achieve their results through using our product and service. So I think a big unlock within customer success is the fact that there is a human to human connection, and we are actually becoming a business partner to our customers to help them grow from one level to the next in their business. So I think you said it beautifully, that we are humans connecting with another human.
Yeah, and I love that you share that view, because it's something that when you think about when people like, or when this all the AI tools that are out there, about it's easy to create a lot of content and reach and be really efficient. And so if everyone's using these similar tools, then the real differentiator between one option and another is the personal connection, that the human that you're meeting with, or you're doing your your quarterly reviews and you're talking with about any of those like technical issues or all the things that client success works with, if the tools and the communication or even like the products are fairly similar, the real difference between why they stick with one company or the other is going to be because they feel like they have the relationship with the people involved. It's not as much about the company that they do business with, but it's the teams at that company that matter. And from the CSM perspective, you really have such a deeper look at what's going on inside the company because you're dealing with the people that are using the tools, not just the buyers, not just the leadership, but also here's what the teams are experiencing. And you get a much more intimate look at what they're struggling with. And you have a position to, hey, I know someone else who can help you with this. Let me make some connections for you that'll solve other problems beyond what you're already paying us to do, to solve with the software tools. That it's those extra opportunities that go beyond the kind of standard boilerplate SaaS contracts that allow you to make a real difference, not only in your client's business, but also the relationships that they have with each other and with your business. And that makes the example I talk about on the show a lot is kind of rebar and concrete. The technical side of the relationship or the transactional side is the rebar and the personal side is the concrete. And if you don't have both, you're in trouble because it's kind of hard to build on rebar alone. And so having that personal side of the connection, that concrete put around the foundation leads to a much stronger foundation to build on. And so many companies in the rush to be efficient or automate have trying to build on top of rebar with no concrete and it's not working.
Yeah, agreed. I think that there's a lot to it. It's not just use AI to automate and figure everything out, or use this tool to just sell or show value to a customer. Of course, we have these wonderful tools and software out there that it's amazing. It makes our job so much more easier. It makes admin a lot easier. But everyone I work with, and I was just having a conversation earlier today around how like we have all of these amazing AI tools or all of these software and technology around us, but it's not like AI is going to teach you how to be empathetic if someone is struggling with your software. It's not like AI is going to teach you how to negotiate when a customer pushes back on something that you're building or not building for them. It's not like AI is going to teach you or do the work for you when it comes to value realization. Sure, it can put the pitch deck together for you. It can make sure that you have the right words on a piece of paper or on a slide deck, but the actual articulation of value, the actual conversation that you're going to be having, that's between two humans. And I think sometimes we also forget in technology and SaaS, we see our customers as logos. And at the end of the day, yes, they are. There might be a big logo like Microsoft or Google or any of these logos that you work with. But at the end of the day, there is a stakeholder on that side of that logo that is a human being. And that human being wants to make sure that the investment they're making in your software is actually helping them grow, helping them become a better leader or, you know, a better part of their business. And your part as a customer success professional is to make sure that that value is realized by that stakeholder. And again, your product might have this built in already, but I can guarantee that that stakeholder isn't seeing it until you have a meaningful conversation with them and you're able to articulate that value. And that comes down to the skill set that customer success professionals have and that they're trained on so that they can be, in your own words, like you say, that rebar and concrete to bring it all together to be that strategic advisor that they're looking for, because they're not just looking for a product or tool at the end of the day. Yes, there are plenty of products and tools out there that you can just plug in, forget, and use and never think about again. But most times when you're buying enterprise software or software that you're paying a pretty penny for in the SaaS world, you are expecting not only delivery, but the value and ROI of that software. And that is exactly where that customer success meets that revenue piece. But if you're not actually stepping up and becoming that revenue advisor or that strategic advisor to your customer, you're quite truly just, you're going to be replaced by AI or a bot, because AI can do those other parts, but they can't do that human to human piece that we've been talking about.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. And there's also the aspect of when you're trying to explain the value of a tool, understanding that the person you're talking to, and when you see them as a human, not just as like the job description or as like the logo of the company, you can understand how their what they're putting at risk from a personal standpoint of advocating for something if it's during a close or an upsell, or about how you can help them increase adoption at the company, because there's usually like some people on their team that's like a potential like saboteurs or people that are not going to be always on board. And so understanding the human side of changing these tools or the software getting adoption takes a lot of understanding, and showing people that you are listening to them and you care about them and you're trying to support them personally, not just as a client, as a company, but like if you have a champion at another company, understanding who they're dealing with and giving them the tools so that they can feel like they're not alone in putting their neck out for advocating for like the upsell or the changes you're suggesting. That's a huge element of, and being able to read and kind of listen between the lines of what they're telling you they're struggling with, and giving the right suggestions of how to manage the humans on their end that you're probably not even talking with directly, is a huge part of making an impact on the client that, again, like a template's not going to do that. It really requires you to dig into those relationships, and that's what leads to a lot of the ongoing success and the revenue generation that most people, when they think about, well, what does a CS team do, is not well understood, because most people aren't, and like especially like a heavily tech focused company, don't have those skill sets. And so if there's like other leaders that don't have those skill sets themselves, aren't going to really recognize the value of those in their teams until they're wondering why their churn and their lifetime value metrics are in the toilet.
Yeah, but I mean, coming back to your point, what is it that CS does? I would say it's protect and grow revenue. No matter what organization you're at, you're either trying to protect customers from churning, so like reducing risk within an organization to protect the revenue, or if you are also in charge of, let's say, renewals or upsells, you're trying to grow as well. So you're trying to grow your customer base. So I would say at the end of the day, just like sales, if you asked, oh, what do you do in sales? Someone in sales is like, oh, well, I grow the revenue. Like I increase sales, I sell to new customers. Well, I would say as easily on the flip side, customer success, the one liner of what we do is we protect and grow revenue. How we do it, the methodology behind it, the way we interact with customers, that totally depends on your product, your service, the maturity of your customer, the maturity of your product and your offerings and what you offer. But it's at the end of the day, that is what we're here to serve. Like, I hope that as we move into 2026, people are realizing we're not here to make a customer happy. We're not here to deliver like onboarding. We're not here to make sure you have a positive NPS or CSAT score. Those are activities, sure. But then are we actually measuring sales and marketing on like the number of calls they book or the number of leads they bring in? No, we measure salespeople on the number of deals they close, because of the revenue target. They have like whatever, 100,000 to hit by the end of the year. We don't care how many sales calls they did. We care that they did 100,000, right? And it's the same thing should translate in customer success, in my opinion, is that yes, do the business reviews. Yes, have the calls with your customers. Yes, go meet them on site and have those value realization conversations. But at the end of the day, your job is to protect and grow revenue for the company. So you got to make sure the activities you're doing day in and day out as a customer success professional is actually either reducing churn, so you're trying to make sure customers are staying with your product, or you're increasing the ARR of that customer. You're actually increasing how much they want to spend with your company because they love and see so much value out of your product and service as well. And then the one other thing I will add that you kind of touched upon was just how we actually work day in and day out. And I think that that's also a kind of like a bad thing that we've kind of shaped in customer success. We've become an everything department. We've basically said yes to everything, and customer success gets pulled into a product call or a sales thing or a marketing thing. And we're like, yes, we'll help the customer in every single way. But I'd love to challenge anyone who's working in customer success and listening to this episode, like, is that serving you? Because I keep hearing from more and more customer success professionals, like, I just don't have the time. I want to be more strategic, or I want to drive more revenue with my customers, but I just don't have the time. But it's probably because we're all saying yes to, yes, I'll jump on that sales demo, or yes, I'll get on this marketing call, which again, very important if it's helping you grow and protect revenue. But if it's not, is it really a good use of your time? And I think that that's the other thing that in CS that we really have to strike a balance with.
Yeah, I think there is a great point you made about the defining the role and how understanding how CS team members need to be spending their time. And it also showed, you also touched on kind of the metrics that CS teams should be focusing on, because I do think there's an overall, because of the different silos of like marketing, sales, and CS, that they're given different metrics, and it also ends up damaging the retention and the lifetime value, because from the client's perspective, it's like they're getting into a relationship with someone with multiple personality disorders, where like marketing feels one way, sales feels another, and CS feels a third way.
Yeah.
They don't really know what they're getting. And so, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts on this, but I think one of the kind of first steps for a company that's wanting to solve churn rate and lifetime value issues is to get your marketing, your sales, and your CS teams all measured by the same metrics and care about the same thing, because that might help you avoid having to have people sit in on meetings they don't really need to be in. Because if you already, all the different teams know we're measuring by basically like revenue and the minus churn, that sort of, like, that's basically what we're all care about, then you don't necessarily have to have it. You still want to make sure you're getting like the CS, like the voice of the customer and giving feedback and stuff, but you don't have them like over on every single meeting because all the teams are on the same page. Is that sound like a good kind of starting point for companies that are wondering how they can fix that stuff? Or what else would you recommend they do to make that shift? And there's anyone you can, like, any case studies you have where someone's made this shift and it's been a huge success? I'd love to hear something like that.
Yeah. Well, there's a few companies that I've worked with that made the shift, but I think just adding on to exactly what you said, like a North Star metric, a one metric that leads at least your go-to market team, like you said, marketing, sales, customer success. But I would challenge to add product and engineering into that. I think that if your product team continues to build product and services that aren't retaining your customers, then no matter how hard your marketing team tries to get new customers in the door and sales works on closing those deals and CS works on delivering, if the product and service doesn't either A, live up to what the market wants, but B, continues to deliver year after year, you're kind of just in this broken cycle. And so I just echo that a number of the clients that I've worked with, just to really get everyone working at the same pace, understanding what they're working for. They had a North Star metric within the business, and the business always said, like, okay, customer retention is our North Star metric. Every team has to look at GRR, for example. So making sure that we try to reduce the amount of customers that leave us year after year. Or maybe it's lifetime value. Maybe it's like, hey, after 3 years, we want to see the majority of our customers at X lifetime value. And that means that everyone in the business is not only working on keeping that customer, they're hoping on growing. They're making sure that the customer continues to see value year after year. So in year 3, that they end up spending more with your company. Whatever the metric is, I honestly, I wouldn't be able to prescribe the exact perfect metric, but what I can say works is having a North Star metric that all your teams understand, because each team will have their own KPIs. Like, that's given. Like, it's for product, it's like maybe the number of sprints or product deliveries they've done, right? And then for CS, maybe it's, again, how many QBRs or all these other things we measure. In sales, it's like, oh, how many deals did you close win versus close lost? And in marketing, it's leads generated versus like leads lost, all this kind of thing. And each team will, of course, have their individual team KPIs, but my recommendation is exactly what you just said, is if you really want to start on being customer first and ensuring long-term growth, like, that's what I really hope companies realize, is you can sell to everyone. Trust me, there's buyers everywhere. You can literally sell to everyone. Even in the toughest economies and toughest markets, their sales can be done. If you have a very strong marketing and sales engine, you can close the deals. But can you actually keep them? Can you actually say in 3 years' time that you've grown your ARR from X% to Y%? Probably not, because you can sell, but a lot of that might just end up being a leaky bucket, and they might just be leaving you after a year anyways. And you don't want that kind of reputation. So if you really want long-term growth, truly long-term growth comes from the right customer fit and ensuring that your customer continues to see value in every interaction with your company. That means from the design of your product. That means from the way an integration works. That means from every call they have with the customer success manager. Everyone in the company should be able to articulate the value of your product and service to a customer in their own way and in their own medium. Like I said, customer teams speak to customers, but if you're in product and engineering, the way you design, execute, how your integrations work, they should be so flawless that your customer is raving about your product and service, right? And the same thing goes for sales. Like when they're talking about use cases, the customers, there's just so many positive use cases that they have that it's a no-brainer for people to sign up. So as long as, again, the full team, the full company really gets behind value articulation to your customer and making sure every interaction from day dot one of them hitting your website to renewal in year 5, that they continue to see value, you're going to see so much long-term growth. Because again, customer growth is compounding depending on how many years and the lifetime value of each customer.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for connecting with me today, Anika. If you enjoyed this episode of the Human Connection podcast, please like, leave a comment, and subscribe. If you want to learn more about myself or Anika, check out the links in the show notes. And remember, no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Happy connecting.